All right. So I'm sorry for the last minute change. I didn't want to compete with the biggest live stream in the world that I was, which is Candace's live. And I think she's wrapping it up. So I think people should be kind of able to trickle in here if they did catch her live. Um, so I did watch on and off the one that she just did, but I'm mainly going to comment on the one she did yesterday and give some feedback on the meeting that she had with Erika. Just give you my thoughts on what I think went down and what we could expect going forward. If you're a little newer, if you're new today, and you want to understand my theory on the Charlie Kirk uh, incident event, I did a video. The best one to watch is Missing Blood and Bullets, or Missing Bullet and Blood. There I go through what I think really happened. Um, and basically, I think it was a staged event, planned, and I guess you can say an act. So what we saw was not what was actually happening. And I explained that in the video. So if you want to watch that after, that'll give you a better idea. But for today, I do want to go over some of the, I guess, the remarks and the information that Candace provided yesterday. So if you're a little less familiar, on Monday the 15th, Erika Kirk announced that she's going to be meeting with Candace in person. No, she announced it the day before, but they announced that on Monday they're having an in-person meeting, and Erika went to Tennessee where Candace lives, and they had a 4+ hour meeting, not recorded. And so yesterday's live was when she was going to share what happened, what they talked about, information she shared and received. She didn't do so much of that. And she received huge backlash to what she was talking about because, first of all, she didn't provide a lot of details about what happened during the meeting. And then she started to backtrack on her ideas and theories that she had before. So I'll give one example, but there are many. So what I think is happening is, okay, so before Monday, we had two competing sides, right? It was like a war. So it was like Erika Kirk and TPUSA was saying one narrative, which is Tyler Robinson was a lone gunman. He's the one responsible. And Candace is saying that's not what happened. The reason I think that is not true is this, this, and this, and this. And she pointed out a lot of things. I think the point where it got really serious for the TPUSA side, as well as the intelligence agencies, the higher ups in the government, the top people of our government, is when she reported that she was in contact with a whistleblower or witness that saw a high-level meeting adjourn at Fort Huachuca. That is in Arizona, I believe. There were 12 to 13 special forces guys, fairly high ranking, he said, lieutenant colonels. And he also saw Brian Harpel, which is Charlie Kirk's head of security. He was at that time and still is. And I did report on that because I feel like that was that was confirmation that there was a government conspiracy from the highest levels, people in the executive branch, top brass within the military, some of the most skilled special forces that we have that were planning for this event. She has since, I think, kind of backtracked a little. She talked about it today, about the planes. And she did say that one of the planes that was kind of being implied that Vice President J.D. Vance was on, she's like, that didn't happen. There is video of him. I'm guessing there's video of him somewhere else. So he couldn't have been at the base that day. So she didn't provide proof, but that is what she's going with now. I do want to point out the text exchange. No. Oh, yeah. So I'll give one example of how she is backtracking on what she has said previously. And this is, okay, I'm going to, oh, I didn't share screen. Did I take that out?
Oh, I think it drops every time you leave the studio.
Okay, I'll set it up again. Okay, so this is going to be her discussing what she thinks happened, or no, this is TPUSA justifying the text exchange between Tyler Robinson and his supposed trans furry lover, where he, I guess, admits to the crime in detail in a very unusual way. The language was very weird. And Candace was the one to point out that the text exchange did not make sense. But this is what she has to say now.
I do want to get to Viva Frey, who had this to say regarding drones. Oh, sorry. Around the regarding the text messages from Tyler Robinson.
A lot has been made about these text exchange that have gone back, that went back and forth between Robinson and his lover, his trans furry gay lover, whatever. And people say it doesn't sound right. Doesn't sound right. Well, there is a video that I want everybody to check out by Turkey Tom. I believe you've watched it now, Viva, where, and this has been authenticated as somebody who was in the Discord chats with them and apparently spent time with them at this apartment. And he said 100% this is how they talked, which is a striking finding. We're going to go into that more probably tomorrow or the next day, depending on how today goes. But I mean, I get the skepticism on this. At first, it struck me too, but apparently this is how they talk, Viva.
That was not the most implausible thing to believe. Okay, so you have a text message. It does read, regardless of whether or not this is how they talk, people saying they were manufactured by or drafted by AI. To the extent that they're confirmed text messages, you can, come to whatever conclusions you want after that. But whether or not this is how they talk regularly, to the extent that those were authentic text messages, they show what they show, which is whether or not his lover was aware of what was going on. You're etching bullets, and it's maybe not for target practice of a sporting nature. But like when I say I don't believe the official narrative, and you have to go back to a number of things here. I put my sort of best theory as to what went down. I want to know who was on the Discord chat in advance, what they were discussing, and whether or not there might have been some other foreign, I say foreign, not foreign government, but outer influence there. Tyler Robinson is getting radicalized right about the same time as Thomas Crooks, right about the same time as the other guy, Ryan Ruth. He's being radicalized at a politically relevant period of time, right around the same time, oddly enough, as the alleged suspect in the January 6th pipe bomber, a time frame where political violence is potentially very useful in for the upcoming election. So,
okay, and he goes on about how this is related to the other patsies or suspects, such as Matthew Crooks, and justifying that the text exchange that went on is real. Like, that's just how they talk. That's how it went down, even though it does sound weird. And she's giving this airtime, and then she's going to compliment this right around here.
But I will say it's good that Turning Point is at least giving that air, right? I feel before, I think that might even be the first time Andrew people that has expressed that he thought that those messages were weird initially. That's good. That's what people want. They want fresh air at Turning Point USA. They want different perspectives. They want to feel like you're willing to have a conversation, and that at least you're going to defend people when they're being called liars when they're telling the truth about something. That would feel more authentic, I think. And so I am, just to say this, very happy that we are on much better feet and that we have opened the lines of communication. I do genuinely think that Justin Strife did a great job reffing that conversation.
Okay, so I see that as a clear sign that she is starting to go along with the FBI narrative that Tyler Robinson is the lone gunman or the main suspect, which is completely different. If you've seen some of her other content, she was very adamant that that was not authentic, that it was manufactured, because it's just not plausible that that conversation could have happened between 20-something-year-olds, because it was, the language was very odd, and it was basically Tyler telling all the details of what happened. And it was just very strange. So there are other examples of her going back on what she had said before. I'm not going to go through all of them, but something she kind of sneaks in, and a lot of people caught this. Oh, and by the way, the backlash was okay. All right, so I hope you guys heard me, but she got really serious backlash, but I'm going to address that a little bit later. All right, and I want to play her comment on Charlie's hands. And just to refresh your memory, a lot of people are talking about the hands that Charlie had in the casket. Here. So this is Erika touching the corpse while he was in the casket. And people are, you know, the hands, the size is not right. They're about the size of her hands, maybe even smaller. And that is what their hands look like before he was put in the casket. So I did want to show that. And here is what she has to say. She's responding to the electrocution theory, that he was electrocuted up there. And I don't believe it. I don't really want to go into details, but someone asked if she thought that he was electrocuted, because Barron showed some images of his arm looking kind of burnt and a couple dots that look like burn marks, I think. But this is what she had to say about his hands.
Of his charred hands are conclusive and compelling. Please, for the love of God, look into this. I did watch that video that Baron Coleman put together. First and foremost, I want to say Baron Coleman has done some incredible work, and I actually told him that we should get together and collaborate, because I had watched a video of his where he was building on Camp Huachuca, and he made me notice some things. So then we started researching some other elements, and that's what we're going to move on to tomorrow. I can tell you definitively, that's a weird camera angle. They do look charred in the photos that he showed, but I can tell you that his hands were not charred when he was buried. And so what you...
Okay, so did you catch that? She said that's not what his hands look like when he was buried. So she's kind of sneaking in there that he has been buried, even though people are asking if he has or not. They haven't really given a straight answer that I've heard. And Erika has said the one thing she doesn't want to tell people is where he's buried. That was my interpretation of her answer when she interviewed on CBS. So I think some people think that is weird. I also saw a comment, I forgot whose video it was on, but they said not only does his hand look unnatural, it is usually not placed in that position in a casket, especially if you are a Christian or Catholic. Normally the hands are placed like this or in a prayer. And that was coming from someone who does, a florist that works with mortuaries. And I thought that was interesting to point out that that was also unusual that his hands were like that. So, and that detail is really key, because you have to ask, why wasn't he in there? And if that was him, why are his hands not in there? Why did they have to put like a prosthetic or something? And even if he was electrocuted, they could have still used his hands. But I don't even think that was a prosthetic. I mean, I think the whole thing was a fake body, to be honest. So I think just that, I mean, that is just one of the many things that suggest that this was staged. But I think that is a really, really telling piece of evidence. Okay. All right. Now we'll go into the reaction. And I know a lot of you guys feel the same. And I really was rooting for Candace, because she was getting such good information and she was so on top of it, and she was so good at delivering the message. She was so convincing. She had, millions of people rooting for her. But I think yesterday was a huge letdown because of the information she was providing, the backtracking and not giving details about the meeting, which is what most people wanted to hear. And then she does things like this. And this was like, this was kind of like when I was pretty much done, even though I know I kind of have to watch her. She's responding to questions or comments.
But I think Justin thought that it would be better if after, just so we could kind of bring the temperature down, which I think was very much accomplished. Temperature was definitely brought down. Zachary Loft wrote, longtime listener for, oh, sorry, I just read that. Mr. Bruce Lee writes, people in the chat, many other channels are not hearing what they want to hear. So it's automatically, well, Candace got paid. The chats are so botted. It's better to actually look at comments after the episode to see what people think.
Okay, so she just called everyone that was questioning her a bot. And that is, I've heard other creators do this when they're in a defensive mode, when they're in denial that what they're doing is not going over well. And it was really, really disappointing. And I got someone messaged saying that she did something like that earlier. She offended her audience earlier. And then I did catch the beginning of the live today, and she said the same thing. She's like, something about if anyone thinks I'm a sellout or something, you're a bot or a fed. And, again, like that's generally not a good way to open up a video or a live. And so just hearing that, she was not going to address the backlash. She was not going to admit that what she was doing is totally disappointing. And I mean, here, I'll put some of her whole chat was just full of, I would say overwhelmingly negative. And Shane, was there anything you wanted to like verbalize with these comments? Or do we get the point? Okay, I can't hear you, but
Oh, I realized what's going on. Okay, it had taken me off screen. There was like a glitch earlier that locked both of us up. Okay, so yeah, there was a lot of people that said Charlie's still alive. This one here says that it's a soap drama, you know, and then all the negative comments kind of validated their feelings of deflation, because when she gaslit everybody and called them all bots and feds, it basically, you know, it gaslit all of her followers, and so they all felt deflated, and then the comments just kind of validated that. And so, yeah, we've got the one guy saying here that the comments were validating. This one says it's a soap drama. Let's see, they're mocking us and laughing at us. I don't know where the heart and soul of Candace went. This doesn't pass the vibe check, basically.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if we want to read them all, but there is just overwhelmingly, I would say 8 out of 10 of the comments were along these lines. And then the other 20 or 10 or 20% were suggesting that he's alive. And I think this is the theory that has the most momentum. And I think this is what is very threatening to the establishment, because they know that people know these things are possible, that they've been happening for a long time, that a lot of the events over many years, decades, have been staged, have been psyops. The purpose of it is to change public opinion, to change legislation, change laws, go to war, you know, just to shape our perspective on what is really going on. And for a long time, it's worked. It's, you know, we're all subject to this. And no one can say I've never fell for any of this, because it is kind of the reality we live in. And now a lot of people are waking up. I think this event is one that people are really waking up with. Did you want to stay on camera, Shane?
Oh,
So, you know, but the sad thing is that they're never going to admit that, that they did this. You know, we're still waiting for them to admit that they did something with JFK, and that was what's over 60 years ago. So I just don't expect that to ever happen, which is really sad. But now with social media, at least, you know, someone like me can voice their opinion. And then even with the comments, and people read the comments, they read the comments. They know that people are starting to wake up. A lot of people know what's going on, and a lot of people are not falling for it. And they still continue to use the same playbook. You know, just a few days ago, the Bondi Beach massacre was another one. I know some people think it was a anti-Semitic Muslim duo that did this, but I would say the amount of people that know what really happened, or know that this was not what we were told it was, is growing. And that is a big threat to the establishment's ability to form our reality, to, you know, mold our minds into what they want it to be, so that they can do what they want to do. And I have an example of what one of these things are. And it's really sad that people don't know about these bills being passed through the Senate, the House. Billions, hundreds of billions of dollars are still being sent to Ukraine and the other country, the one in the Middle East. And just yesterday, so okay, I'll get to the comments in a little bit, but let me show. So I got a tip from Robert. Oh, what happened there?
it's just a message from StreamYard is fine.
No, my thing changed.
Yeah, StreamYard had a pop-up or something. It's okay.
Oh, okay. All right. So this was just passed. Actually, today. Okay, this just passed. Congress passed a $901 billion military budget, which includes $400 million to the Ukraine for both 2026 and 2027. It was approved following a Senate vote of 77 to 20. So, as if we don't send enough money, they're sending more. And this is a big one, 901 billion. I think I've heard someone say that will give our entire country free healthcare. Something like that. I think, and then some. So, I mean, I'll be honest, I had no idea this was going on until one of you guys told me. But this is asked AI, and I have to admit, I have to assume this is correct. Defense. So yeah, the National Defense Authorization Act. So on Monday, 15.1 billion allocated for military cyber programs, up 4% from the previous levels. So much more, 9.1 billion for cybersecurity operations. So this is what we should really be worried about, to be honest. But I know it's not very exciting, right? And it's kind of become so common that, all of our tax money and, even money we don't have is being sent to these wars that we don't even support, that we don't even benefit from, and we don't even want to be a part of. I'm not trying to say like I'm not guilty of this, because obviously I have been caught up in something that ultimately is not that important. Okay. I know we all want to find out what really happened, and for those guilty to come forward and say, this is what we've been doing, we've been lying, and we've been pulling these things off for a long time. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. And that is one of those realities that I think we're going to have to get used to, but at the same time, we don't have to accept it. And I think we have a little window where we can, go max and just, really try to put the truth out there. But even that is slowly dwindling because another country is buying up all of our media platforms and censoring the platforms. So they've already taken over mainstream media, and now they're clamping down on social media. It's getting worse every day. I know my videos, I would say more and more are demonetized. And that really makes it difficult for creators to continue having a platform and to continue making content, because it's not free. This kind of work, we do need to buy things. The amount of time and effort and energy is significant. And to do it for free for the average person is not feasible. The vast majority of people, it's not feasible. And even if it was feasible, it is extremely taxing. It requires a huge amount of passion, motivation, and focus. And it's hard. I do struggle with getting it together to put this information out. And the amount of prep, it is very consuming. I have a lot of other things to do. So the truth is just becoming like so much harder to express. And I believe our First Amendment right has fairly been diminished, almost completely gone. And I think in the next few years, I can't even say these things in a public forum unless something massively changes. And I don't see that change happening anytime soon. So I know that's not like very positive, but I did want to express that. And I kind of don't, I know so many people are geared up to find out what really happened to Charlie. But I don't think we'll ever find him. Okay, you know what? I'll go into what I think went down on Monday in this meeting. I think, so I was talking to Shane and I'm like, do you think like Charlie was there? Because I mean, we think he's still alive, but I don't think he was there. I think there's too much risk moving him, to these areas. But I think, and we'll never really know. I mean, maybe someone will come out and say, but I don't even know if that's even worth it. But I think they had to summon Candace. And I do think she has a role. She kind of knows her role in this whole thing. But I think she stepped over the line and they had to straighten her out and say, all right, well, you can't say this, you can't say this, you can't say this. I know it's going to look weird if you all of a sudden change your mind, but meet us halfway. Put that doubt in people's mind that what you were saying before wasn't really true. And so that's kind of where what I see happening now. And I don't know I don't know how long she can carry this narrative. I think she will probably carry the narrative as long as people tune in and people are interested and do support her. And I think with the help of the algorithm, she can do that for a while, because what happens is if you lose your older supporters who have figured it out, all they do is they grab new people. I've seen this with a lot of other networks that have this kind of help, the CIA helping, the FBI helping, the tech industry helping. I see this with Sean Ryan's show. I used to follow him until I feel like he was caught or got. And I don't think it was so much of a money offer. I know a lot of people think, oh, they offered her a bunch of money, so now she's going to do this. I don't think she needs that. I think she would have been okay. I think she would rather have kept going the way she was and earned that way. But I have a feeling they brought someone pretty high up. I don't think it was just, Erika and Candace having a little girls' meeting like some people think. I do think there was some firm words exchanged, and they just said, this is what you're going to do. And that's the end of it. National security, the threat of whatever, the threat of doing this or that. Maybe that was laid down, maybe not. Maybe it didn't have to be. Maybe the meeting didn't even happen. But I think if I really try to picture what happened, that's what I think happened. But if you guys want to put in the comments what you think happened on Monday, please let me know. Do you want to, Shane, get to some supers and questions and comments and stuff, or should we wait a little bit? You're muted.
Sure. Yeah, we've got some supers here right now.
Okay. G Whistlecole. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Oh, Laura. Hi, Laura. Thank you again. Yeah, Laura is very good at giving me like the real inside scoop, like things that I haven't quite gotten to. I feel like she's kind of like a step ahead, and then it takes me a while to get there. Candace says she believes in Harpole. Oh, did she say that today? Yeah, I know. I know she played some of his interview with Sean Ryan. She never mentioned the possibility of it being fake. No. And you know what? I will say I don't like to speak negatively about others, or I don't like to speak negatively about like my supporters, people that are watching. But I do think, I mean, I can't be that special that I'm the only channel that knows this. I'm not some genius that knows so much more. And for it to be so clear to me, it has to be clear to the other creators. But I tried not to watch too many of their videos today because I didn't want to kind of toe the line or kind of do what they're doing. So I don't know. I watched Jesse, and it kind of seemed like he was kind of scared to voice his opinion. I love his channel, Jesse on Fire. I really love his content. It's very entertaining and very informative. But I kind of sensed he was backpedaling, and he's starting to align, like kind of go more towards the middle, even though he has said a number of times that Charlie didn't die. But there is, I think, a lot of pressure, especially if you have a larger platform and you have a lot of advertisers, you have a lot of money, you employ a lot of people that depend on you. It's kind of hard to walk away from that opportunity to tell the truth. It is. And yeah, I do have these moments where I'm like, well, I gotta just take some of these promotional offers, but I really don't. I appreciate that I do get offers, not a ton, but so far I've only accepted partnerships. I haven't done a promotional video, but as far as like the 2 affiliate programs, they're only with companies that the products that I use, I believe in, and I'm passionate about. But I do think a lot of the other creators are gonna kind of fall in line, kind of take things from Candace. Bojangles, thank you for the super. Candace is definitely evil, just another psyop actress. I know a lot of you guys have been telling me that. But you know what? I really do appreciate some of these stories. I really appreciate the Macron story, and I believe she's right. So in that sense, I'm not like, I don't want to cancel her. I know a lot of people have, but I do think there are stories that are important, and it is good that she exposes them, and because she has the team and she has the platform. But this storyline is a letdown and a big disappointment. Erika would be good as an evil woman in a soap opera. Yeah, well, I think we all agree she is definitely part of the act. I think she was read in from the beginning, maybe even before she met Charlie. I've been to 3 open casket funerals, and the hands did not look like that. Yeah, I've seen hands, corpse hands. They were older people, but I don't really remember. But those hands, yeah, just don't look right. There's a lot of central casting actors out there. Yeah, I think I don't know if you guys have seen the interview with 60 Minutes. One of the casting guys, I think he's from Assad, said that, you know, we do all the casting, we're the main actors, we are the producers and directors, and we produce the life that you see, or we will produce the world that you see. And I hope more people are starting to realize that. And I think a lot of people are. I mean, I hope I'm helping with that. Reality TV moved to the internet. Yeah, that's kind of what it has come to. Tiny Hats brought CBS into it, now TikTok and something else. Yeah, they bought Paramount and yeah, there's another one, a big acquisition. But you know, very soon our entire media apparatus will be owned by one entity, and it's happening really fast, really fast. Was there anything more?
Well, there's a lot of praise and everything. Let me see. We've got some new ones while I was looking through the starred comments. Yeah, I wasn't sure where you wanted to go, if you wanted to keep addressing comments, because there's a lot of praise, a lot of random comments. We did get a few supers, which we covered. I guess if I was going to throw in my 2 cents, I would just say that I have always thought for a while now that Candace was controlled opposition, and it's gotten very intense as far as the drama goes recently, and everybody's just kind of all tuned in, and it's kind of like we're all watching the Truman Show. So in my opinion, you know, I think Candace was always controlled opposition, and now she's just kind of showing her hand, and it's becoming more obvious. But this does kind of fit what I would call it fits part of the Hegelian dialectic, where there's synthesis, antithesis, or thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. And so, you know, the official story with the FBI, that would be the thesis, but then you had Candace come along with her counter narrative to be the antithesis. And now you have both the official story and the, you know, the thesis and the antithesis are kind of backpedaling towards this, you know, central position, which both sides will kind of accept, and that will become the new synthesis. And so that's kind of like mass formation psychosis going on, but incrementally. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, so I think the plan is to get the masses to align kind of in the middle. They probably don't think they can get everyone to one side or the other, but it's going to take some time. I think they eventually will convince the vast majority of people, but it will take a little time, and I would hope that more people will be more outspoken. So when you go to a live or a channel and you make comments, they matter. As a creator, I read a lot, especially the earlier ones. Shane reads a lot because it's important for us to know like where our audience is at. So it does make a difference. Like we don't just say, you know, like and comment just to get more engagement. We do really need to know like where people are at mentally, and it does matter. And I hear that from other creators. I mean, some just don't read them or don't have someone that reads them, but I think they do matter. Okay. Oh, another super. Your channel is awesome, Tracy. You have done very well, better than most. Like I said before, we truly do appreciate you. Truth is always worth pursuing, no matter how tough it gets. Yeah, I try to remember that. I try to remember that, but it does at times get hard. You know, sometimes it gets a little scary. I don't know, maybe I should say I'm not suicidal and I don't drive my car into walls, trees, or off cliffs. And what else was there you got to say? If I don't make a video for a long time, there's probably something wrong.
Well, we could say we don't take money from Israel or Qatar, and we're not suicidal. And I'm not sure what else we need to say other than fair use. Anything we've shared here, fair use. Whether if Candace tries to, because we've had some weird issues with Sean Ryan, how he said use all my content, and so we did, and then he pulled the copyright thing on us a couple times. So yeah.
Oh, right. It would be, I don't know how they do that. I guess they have to tell the algorithm, if anyone uses this content, make sure to send a copyright strike.
Not really sure how that works.
Yeah, because I used to use this content and it never was. Most channels, it's not a problem. They want you to use their info because it spreads their channel. But yeah, if it's a copyright strike, they usually just demonetize it. Once in a while, they take it down, but so far nothing of mine has been taken down. The only topic I was going to touch on was the Conservatism Inc. and the business aspect. I was going to do a video kind of delving into the industry as a whole, as far as the conservative movement as a business, because it certainly has gotten to that point and it serves a lot of purposes. And there's a lot of money to be made in this movement. I mean, it's always been there, but it's become such a strong ideology. And I think when you look at what TPUSA has been, it's kind of the culmination of this. The use of money, donations, to shape the minds of the young people, because that's very important. The people that need to control things need to influence the younger people to see things a certain way in order for them to achieve their goals. And so when there's something so important like that, a lot of money goes into that, and then problems arise from that. And the channel Wolf Finance did a really good video on the financial stuff, the TPUSA tax filings, and how they got away with getting paid so much without it looking like they're getting paid. And if I remember, I'll link that in the description. Really good video. He did a deep dive into the 990 filings of TPUSA and how they split it up into 4 companies, so it was harder to figure out where the money was going. And I think the initial thought was Charlie was completely not in the loop, but I find that very hard to believe. I think he was fairly aware of the financial goings-ons, not everything, but he was getting a salary from 4 different sleeves of the company, so that it didn't look like he was getting paid that much. But it was like 394K for TPUSA, but he was also getting that from the endowment and the church, and then something else. So I have to assume he knew that was happening. And then he also had a $6.5 million mansion in Arizona. He had to have known where that money was coming from. I have to just assume that. But I do think a lot of the people around him were coming into a lot of money, and that causes a lot of problems, and there's a lot of risk with that. And a lot of these people can go to jail for a long time if they're caught with this financial fraud. Okay, anything else so we can close out? Any other questions?
Okay, let's see. Well, someone had said we did have 248 likes, and then they came back and it was 142. And so when I tabbed over, it does look like it is at least lower. Yeah, so I still have less showing than the original. So it looks like there might be some weird shadow banning going on. Let's see here. Someone says Candace is on the payroll too. There's a question for me. It says, will I be posting more videos on my channel? They look forward to seeing my posts. Well, thank you for that. I am working on a 2030 video, which I started and haven't finished yet. I should hopefully get that done in the next week or so before I move on to my next topic. But yeah, I do focus mostly during the week on this channel, and then on the weekends I try to catch up on my channel. All right, let's see here.
Maybe I'll ask a question. Am I closing the book on this? Because I keep saying that. No money
book on
can
what?
buy everyone. My integrity is priceless. Yeah, I think when you get a little bit older, that tends to be a lot more important. But I try not to be too hard on the other creators because I think a lot of them, they support their families on doing this, and it is hard to make a living doing this. It really, really is really hard. You two are a good team, trustworthy. Mahalo. Oh, thank you, Janet Louise. You should have Whitney Webb on to talk about what she found while writing One Nation Under Blackmail. Yeah, I've heard a lot about that book. That is a topic. The trafficking is something I'm interested in it, but it's kind of depressing. It's so dark that I kind of don't want to go that way just because I have young kids, and it's just really hard, like emotionally, to look into that. But I am interested in it. Likely some of the money sent for aid is filtered back to the US through nonprofits. Yeah, a lot of that money is also going to the defense contractors. I don't know if you're talking about the defense budget, but nonprofits, NGOs, and the defense contractors. I want Teresa to be guest on Sabby Sabs. Oh yeah, I like her, Sabby Sabs. She follows this content. She's very very straightforward. Oh, Debbie Zopina, thank you for becoming a member. Oh yeah, I do have a membership program. So if you become a member, there's 2 levels, and we once in a while will put like member only content and posts. We haven't done it too much recently. We will eventually, but it puts your comment at the top. Like when I open up Studio, it'll pop up. So I think that's the best benefit of it. And then you get access to our Telegram chat. And we don't have a ton of people in the Telegram chat. I think we're like 9 or 10 people that are actively participating. So you guys can get access to that with the membership. We pray Psalms 91 over you, Tracy. Oh, thank you so much, Catilia. Many people planted on all sides to keep from solidifying any movement for good always have to divide. Yeah, I do think a lot of the goals of the conservative movement is to keep that divide, the left and right divide. And I would say a lot of people still fall for it. I'm convinced Charlie is dead after that squib video. I'm not convinced Charlie is dead after that squib video. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of torn on if there was a squib, because I don't think they had to use a squib. But it could have been they did that as well as the augmented reality, advanced holograms to pull that off. But I'm really certain that they used the digital distortion. So they hacked into people's phones that were recording or had recorded, and was able to either erase things, put things on their phones, or alter them. And my video, Missing Blood and Bullets, goes into that. Oh, Wide Camp, thank you so much for the super. Thank you for all you have shared and your integrity. You're very welcome. Okay, do we have any more? Trigger Smart is decent. Can't hate on him. Yeah, I just discovered his channel. He's definitely shadow banned because I didn't even get a notice for his content, which I should. It was one of you guys that said to look into his videos, and he's really good. I understand, Tracy, but story is so much bigger than the trafficking. The blackmail was an insurance policy to keep people quiet. Epstein had been laundering funds. He was involved in, yeah, I do know that. I guess also it is such a huge story. It would take a lot of time for me to grasp that topic. I am learning little by little, but I'm in no way at the point where I can speak on it. I think even if I had Whitney on, like, her knowledge would go over my head, like, I need to build my way to that. But I do listen, I do read about that stuff. But it is a big topic to take on. But I do think I understand it a lot better than most, as far as like how these agents exist within the system. It's not just like this country against this country. I think they're all kind of working towards the same goal. All you need to know about government child trafficking, it falls in line with Masonic tenets, which are derived from the Talmud. Yeah. Yeah, the Talmud. It's just so dark, you know. Brian from Disturbing Illusion is uncompromised. Brian, oh, Disturbing Illusion. I've not heard of that before.
Sounds familiar. I'm not sure why.
It doesn't sound familiar. Plus, YouTube be taking 30%. That's robbery. Oh, the super chats. Oh, Didi got a podcast. I just found him. Yeah, he's good. He's that young kid that's like in his bedroom. He did a really good interview with that TPUSA whistleblower. I think that's the only thing I saw. But yeah, he's good. I think he's throwing the truth out there. I appreciate you and Shane's honesty. Hang in there. Oh, thank you, Debbie. So yeah, hit a like, comment. Do you guys want me to continue on this Charlie Kirk thing? I'm ready, I've been ready to wrap it up. But if you guys still want me to follow it, I will, because I feel like I've grasped it so much, and I feel like I'm at a point where I could probably put another like curated video together that really nails like what was really happening. So I could put something else out. Both you and Shane benefit from our memberships. Yes.
I think it's a question. Yes, they do. And then there's a follow-up here. They tried to become, I don't have memberships enabled on my channel, but I do benefit from the memberships also on Tracy's channel as well. So
yeah, I think you have to be a monetized channel to do membership. Yeah, you have to. So you have to get.
I'm about 1,000 watch hours away on my channel from qualifying for monetization.
Yeah, no, we do get paid. YouTube does take 30% of the supers and the membership, but it does help, like, you know, to pay for things and not feel so broke. Okay, anything else? Tracy, I've had evidence on my phone corrupted and compromised. It's best to have modular, dedicated hardware for recording video and audio. Yeah, that's what I learned when I heard about the Charlie Kirk thing, like how everyone's devices got hacked. You know, to use like a camcorder or something that people don't use nowadays. I don't really take a lot of like footage when I'm out. That's like that important. Cash Patel is a fraud. Yeah, I think Cash, they're setting him up to like either fire him or resign. Okay, wrap it up. You mean the Charlie Kirk? The Charlie Kirk. You mean the Charlie Kirk story? Yeah, I've kind of been ready to. I mean, there's so much other things that we need to cover, so I'm good with that. I'm sure they used a squib. Why do you think they're handing off things and walking off with them? That could be, but I don't know what those things were. Squib and whoever recorded and released. You'll be fine, Tracy. Don't worry, you're not alone. There's too many people on your side. Oh, thank you. That's really good to know. Okay. All right, Shane, I do have to wrap it up. I have people coming in town for the holidays. I have to get ready for them. So, yeah, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for your participation, and thank you for coming back after I had to reschedule. So yeah, that's going to do it. Thank you guys. I'll see you all soon. Bye.